Hello, viewer, and in this class, we are going to look at our quadratic equation using the method of the completed square. Here we have on the board, say given that ps squared plus qs plus r equals to 0 and 4s squared plus 4x minus 3 equals to 0, solve using the method of completing the square. So we are going to provide the roots of this equation, these two solutions to this equation, as well as this. First and foremost, in a quadratic equation, we have here we have a p s squared plus qx plus r is equals to 0. So we should find the solution using completing the square. The first thing you do here is to see that the coefficient of s square here is reduced to 1. And what's the coefficient of x square? Is p. So here we divide through by p. We divide this equation through by p. We say this is divided by p, divided by p, divided by p, 0 divided by p. So once we have done this, you see that this expression becomes okay, let me put it here, becomes s square plus q over p x plus r over p is equals to 0. Because that is the first step you do. You must ensure that the coefficient of s square given in the equation must be 1. So that's what we have done. Okay, the next step is to see that this constant term here, the constant term must move to the right hand side, and here you see this is plus, and if we do that, this become s square plus q over p x. This is plus, as it's moving to this side it become minus minus r over p, because 0 minus r over p is minus r over p. Okay, that is step 2. Then the next step is to see that we look for the coefficient of x. That is first thing you know. You have to look for the coefficient of x. Find half of it. So we're going to look, the coefficient of x here is q over p. And q over p, that is the coefficient of x. What we are going to do there is that we will look half of it. Times 1 over 2. Then it will not end there. This will become q over 2p. So this term we obtain here, we're going to square it. We're going to square it. We square it. So it will, this square, this value obtained here, we're going to add it to both sides of the equations. So you add this half coefficient of s square to both sides of the equation. So that's what we're going to do now. So this becomes s square plus q over px plus this term here. The term here is q over 2p all square is equal, because we're adding it to both sides. So we say here is q over 2p all square minus what we have here before, r over p. Okay, now this term here, what we need to do here is that this term we can also express it as x plus q over 2p all square. So what we simply mean here is that if we expand this term here, it's going to give us everything here. Okay, so if we expand this term, it's going to give us this. Okay, all right, so we go to the right hand side here, q square, this is q square over, then if we square 2p, it's going to give us 4p square minus r over p. Okay, like I said if we expand this, what we are seeing here is the same thing as this. So once you get to this place, all you need to do, you pick just x plus what you have here, the half coefficient of x, you put it here, you close the bracket and put a square there. So this term here is same as the term above. Okay, then the next step is we look at this is a fraction. This is a fraction, and what we need to do, we'll have to look for the LCM of this fraction, and the LCM of 4p squared and p is simply going to give us 4p squared. So the LCM of 4p squared and p is 4p squared. So that 4p squared divided 4p squared is 1. So we use the 1 to multiply the numerator, which is q squared. So q squared times 1, that will give us q squared. Now 4p squared divide 4p squared divide p, and our result will become 4p. This 4p, we use it to multiply minus arrow. This one will give us minus 4pr. Okay, so here we have done the needful here. So here we know this left hand side is x plus q all over 2p all square. Okay, the next step is that we take the square root of both sides, because we want to clear this square off here, because the essence is that in the quadratic equation, what we are looking for the values, two values of x. So what we are looking for here is just x. So we need to remove this one. By saying that, we say find or take the square root of both sides, and if that is done, here will become x plus q over 2p. Now when it says take square root of both sides, that means this one will be off, this will be off, this is times half. So here on the right hand side, this become a square root of q square minus 4pr all over 4p square. Okay, here that will not end there, because here we are going to have two possible values here. Because of that, we will say this is plus or minus the square root of q square minus 4pr all over 4p square. Okay, all over 4p square. Okay, here if you look at the denominator here, this square root cover everything. So the square root of 4p square, the square root of 4p square will give us 2p. So here on the right hand side, so here will becomes, now here we have the x plus q all over 2p. This we are looking for only x plus q over 2p. We move to the right hand side, become minus. So it will become minus q over 2p plus or minus the square root of q square minus 4pr all over 2p. Okay, now the possible value of x will be this. S will be minus q plus or minus the square root of q square minus 4pr, everything over 2a, because the common is 2 all over 2p. The common the denominator, they are common. For that reason, the LCM will just be the value we have at the denominator. So this is the solution. So s is either minus q plus the square root of q square minus 4pr, or s is equals to minus q minus the square root of q square minus 4pr all over 2p. Okay, that is it. And this is one of the solutions. But they also gave us another solution to solve which is 4s square plus 4x minus 3 is equals to 0. So we'll be able to obtain the solution for this. So we should use completing the square to resolve this. Okay, we have done that. This is the solution here. Then they also gave us this question. See, 4s squared plus 4x minus 3 using completing the square. Like I said, what we do first, we must divide through by what? By the coefficient of s square throughout the equation. Throughout the equation here. So Once we have done that, this becomes s squared plus x minus 3 over 4 is equals to 0, because 0 divided by 4 is also 0. So the next thing is to move this constant term to the right hand side, and if we do that, this becomes s squared plus x. This is minus 3 over 4 become plus 3 over 4, which is 3 over 4. Then let us now look at what is now the coefficient of x here is 1. So we should look for half of it. Half of it. The coefficient of x is 1, and half of it is this times half, which is 1 over 2. But we're going to square it. Once we obtain the coefficient of x, obtain it, multiply it by half, then you square it. So by squaring it, we say we're putting 1 over 2 raised to power 2. And if we do that, that will give us 1 over 4. So here we say this is s squared plus x plus 1 over 2 all square. Because we're adding it to both sides, this will become 3 over 4 plus 1 over 2 all square. So here, like I told you, once you are in this place, this term becomes x. What you have here is 1 over 2, the term here, all bracket square. So what we have written here, x plus 1 over 2, is the same thing as s squared plus x plus 1 over 2 all square. Okay, then the next thing is we look at the right hand side. Here we have a 3 over 4, 1 over 2, 1 square is 1 and 2 square is 4. So here we have a x plus 1 over 2 all square is equals to, quickly here the LCM is 4. This is 3 plus 1 here. The LCM of 4 in this fraction is 4, because they are the same. So what you need to do, since the LCM are the same, you add the numerator. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 4, that is 1. So the next step, what we have here is s plus 1 over 2 all square, okay, is equals to 1. The next thing you say, take the square root of both sides. Taking the square root of both sides simply means that this half, this is times half. That's what it simply means. 1 over 2 is equals to plus or minus the square root of 1. Okay, that's the implication there. Here, x plus 1 over 2 is equals to plus or minus 1. And square root of 1 is 1. And so that s is equals to, this is plus, as it's moving become minus half, plus or minus 1. So the value of x here will become minus half plus half, minus half, minus half, minus half plus 1. So that will give us half. So it's the LCM. This time this is 2. Minus 1 plus 2 is also 1. So the other one will become minus half minus 1. That will give us minus 3 over 2. So the solution there is 1 over 2 or minus 3 over 2. So this is the procedure for resolving quadratic equation using completing the square. It's quite simple. Ensure that the coefficient of s squared must be 1. Then the next step is that you move the constant term to the right hand side, and from there you look for the coefficient of x, look for half of it and square it and add it to both sides. If you follow this process, you will ensure that you will see that your result, are not far from the truth. Okay, have a nice time. All you help me do, please do share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks.